Some acts might have nothing to do with morals, and other acts can be seen more or less clearly as moral or immoral. Some acts stand out as especially praiseworthy when a person goes above and beyond the call of duty. These are called supererogatory acts, and sometimes what can be judged as either moral or immoral is not an act, but the omission of an act, not doing something when one could do it. I will discuss these special cases of moral acts in this video. If you find this interesting, perhaps you should consider subscribing to my channel. First, the supererogatory act. It comes from a Latin term meaning paying more than is due. As a type of act, it means doing more than is required. It is common to think that a person has the duty to help others when the cost of doing so is not too great. For example, one cannot normally be expected or required to sacrifice one's own life even to save other people. But sometimes someone does something like that, more than is required of them. For example, a rich person can suddenly give all of their wealth to charity. By doing more than is required of them, they are acting in a particularly praiseworthy moral manner. It is also possible to do less than is expected, while not quite being immoral. Some thinkers call this kind of act supererogatory. It is not quite bad enough to warrant condemnation, but is discouraged. Acts falling between sub and supererogatory are normal moral behavior. But what is normal for one may be supererogatory for another. A police officer, for example, can be expected to prioritize the lives and safety of ordinary civilians over that of their own. They may be required to risk at least their health to stop criminals in their everyday line of duty. If an ordinary citizen risks their own health and possibly life to stop criminals, it would be an erogatory act for them, even if the same act would be just everyday work for the police officer. What if the police officer fails to put their health at risk to save ordinary citizens? That may or may not be a failure to do their job, but regardless of that, their behavior is likely to be considered wrong. But it is not wrong in the same way that it would be wrong of them to use unjustified, violent force against civilians. In the latter, it is the act that is clearly immoral, but in the former, it is not acting that is immoral. It is an omission that we find unacceptable. There are many kinds of omissions, but only some of them are considered wrong. A very common one is a lie of omission. It is intentionally allowing someone to form a false belief by not volunteering an important piece of information. Some people try to defend their action by stating that the other person did not ask about that specific thing. But if it was clear that they wanted to know that information, the act of not telling it to them is clearly wrong. A lie of omission. For example, imagine the following scenario. A child comes home from school an hour later than usual, and their parent asks where they have been. The child replies that they spent some time with their friends at school before coming home. What the child is deliberately not mentioning is that they actually spent the time with their friends in detention after school. Here's another example. A student sees others at school teasing and bullying another student. Instead of doing the right thing, which is to step in and try to stop the bullying or otherwise help the person being bullied, they just ignore it. They fail to do what they should do. These examples were typical cases of doing something wrong by omission. But in other cases, not doing something might be the right thing to do. Some people, usually ones suffering from a severe illness with no hope of recovery, have declared that they want to be allowed to die. They may even have a "Do not resuscitate" tattooed on their chest or arm. An emergency medical technician who has been called to the scene of an accident, finding a dying, unconscious victim with this tattoo, should probably not attempt to resuscitate the victim, even though that is what they would normally do in that situation. This omission would be the moral thing to do. It could be argued that we have the duty to help those less fortunate than ourselves when we are able to do so. Especially in today's globalized world, the duty most likely applies to even those who live in distant countries. It can further be argued that a lot of people live in poverty, even starving to death, and we could help them a lot by donating all of our possessions to charity. If that is our duty, then most of us continuously neglect our duty to help the poor. At least if we do not devote all of our time, energy, and abilities, or even just all of our money, into helping them. Are we guilty of neglecting the poor and our duty toward them? Is this a case of an immoral omission? Perhaps, but we may be able to justify at least part of it. Perhaps we do not have a duty to give away everything and sacrifice our own well-being for that of others. We may also have a duty toward ourselves, and dedicating our lives to helping others at the expense of our own happiness, well-being, or even health would conflict with that duty. That, of course, does not mean we don't have to do anything to help the poor or otherwise less fortunate. It just means, at best, that we don't have to sacrifice everything. We still should clearly do something. That is all I wanted to say about these special cases of moral acts for now. Next time I will be talking about moral luck. See you then. If you wish to support my channel, please click thumbs up, subscribe, and share my videos. Any comments on the videos would also be welcome.